My stepmother tried to chase me away from my late father's house, but my name is on the lease. People always say that grief brings out the truth in people, that when someone dies, you see everyone's real face. I never fully believed that until my father passed away and my stepmother tried to erase me from his life like I was never part of it. My name is Alia, and this is the story of how my stepmother tried to kick me out of the only home I ever knew, and how I made her regret every cruel word. My mom died when I was 6. It was just Dad and me after that. We weren't rich, but Dad worked hard to keep us in a decent house. A cozy 2-story with a blue door and a creaky back gate. Every memory I have of childhood lives in that house. Learning to ride a bike on the driveway, birthday balloons tied to the mailbox, my first heartbreak in the kitchen while Dad made spaghetti and told me I deserved better. Then came her, Rena. She married my dad when I was 15. She was beautiful in that cold, sculpted way, always perfectly dressed, always polite but never warm. To me, she was a guest in our home who decided she owned the place the moment she stepped in. Dad was happy, though. He said she brought peace. I just nodded and kept my distance. She didn't yell. She didn't throw things. No, Rena was much smarter than that. She ruled by erasure. She gradually moved my mom's photos into drawers, gave away furniture my dad and I had picked out together, repainted rooms without asking. And whenever I spoke, she'd smile thinly and say things like, "Oh, I didn't think that mattered anymore," or "You're so sensitive." Dad didn't always notice. When he did, he'd apologize, but he was tired. Older. He just wanted peace. So I stayed quiet. I graduated, got a job in town, and lived in the attic room because I couldn't afford to move out. I still cleaned the house, paid for groceries when I could, and cared for Dad as his health declined. And then one morning, he didn't wake up. We buried him on a rainy Thursday. Only a few relatives came. Rena stood next to me, sunglasses on, dry-eyed. I cried through the whole thing. That night, I made tea in the kitchen, still numb, when she walked in with a folder. "We need to talk," she said coolly. I sat down, still in my funeral clothes. "I think it's time you moved out." Just like that. I blinked. "Excuse me? This house belongs to me now. I need space to process. And frankly, you've been here long enough." I stared at her. "He just died. 2 days ago." She didn't flinch. "Exactly. It's time to move forward. You have a job, don't you?" "Yes, and I paid part of the bills. I took care of him while you were busy getting your nails done." Her face twitched, but she stayed calm. "You're being emotional. And you're being a monster." That's when she made her fatal mistake. She said with a smirk, "You can leave by the end of the month. You have no legal claim to this house." But you see, she didn't know what I knew. 3 years ago, when Dad was first diagnosed with heart disease, he made changes. Quiet changes, the kind that meant everything when the time came. He added me to the lease. He didn't tell Rena, said she didn't need to know because she already had him. But he wanted to protect me. He feared she'd push me out if something ever happened. Turns out, he was right. So while she sat there, sipping her tea, smug and satisfied, I calmly walked to the small safe in the hallway. I opened it, pulled out a copy of the lease, and returned to the table. Then I slid it across to her. She picked it up lazily until she saw my name in bold black ink. Co-tenant, Alia Hassan. Her smile cracked. "You're lying," she whispered. I pointed. "He added me after his first heart surgery. Said this house was just as much mine as his." She stood up. "This can't be legal. You're not his wife." "No," I said softly. "I'm his daughter, and that meant more to him than you'll ever understand." She stormed off, but it wasn't over. Not even close. I thought she'd accept it. That she'd swallow her pride and learn to live with me. But I underestimated how much she hated not being in control. Over the next few weeks, she made my life hell. She threw out my clothes by accident. She played loud music at night, knowing I had early shifts. She stopped buying groceries and told relatives I was freeloading and milking the house out of spite. I held my ground. I brought food for myself, changed the locks on my door, started documenting everything, because I knew what was coming. She filed a complaint with the property management, claimed I was threatening her, said I was an unwanted squatter. I met with the property manager personally, brought all the documents, my name on the lease, utility bills I had paid, even texts from Dad confirming my residency. They were on my side. She lost that battle. So she tried another angle. She called a cousin of mine, someone I hadn't seen in years, and offered him money to help talk sense into me. He showed up, tried to pressure me to move out. I recorded the conversation, then called him out on social media, where mutual friends saw everything. Her tricks were unraveling. I didn't want to destroy her. I just wanted her to stop, to finally realize that she had no power over me anymore. But Rena didn't stop until she had no choice. So I gave her a little push. I started by hosting small dinners, invited old family friends who loved Dad. I told them the truth, how I was being harassed in the home he left me. They listened. Word spread. Suddenly, Rena wasn't being invited to gatherings anymore. Then I found out something else. She hadn't paid the mortgage in 2 months. The house wasn't fully paid off. My dad had been covering most of it from a fund he kept private, a fund Rena assumed would continue magically supporting her lifestyle. Except it didn't. She was broke. She tried to get a loan, got denied, tried to sell some furniture, found out half of it had receipts in my name because I had paid for it when we redecorated for Dad's birthday 2 years ago. She was cornered. And then, oh, this was beautiful. She tried to sell the house. Yes, she actually contacted a real estate agent and tried to list it. I got a call from the agent who was doing due diligence. Just confirming, you're the co-tenant on the lease, correct? Yes. And are you willing to vacate upon sale? No, absolutely not. The listing never went up. She lost it that night. Screamed at me in the hallway, told me I ruined her life, that I was a selfish, entitled brat. I didn't even yell back. I just said, I live here, legally. You can leave anytime. 2 months later, I came home from work to find the place eerily quiet. Rena's room was empty. Her clothes, her jewelry, gone. On the counter was a note. You won. Hope you're proud of yourself. Enjoy your precious house. There was no signature. No goodbye. She moved in with a distant relative in another state. I stood in the middle of the living room, in that silent, hollow space, and I finally cried. Not out of sadness, but relief. I hadn't just kept the house. I had taken back my home. It took a few weeks to fully cleanse the place. I painted the walls back to the soft cream my mom once loved, hung Dad's photo in the hallway. Replanted the garden Rena had let die. And slowly, I started to breathe again. Neighbors came by and said how proud Dad would be. Friends brought food, warmth, laughter. The house felt alive again. Sometimes people ask if I ever miss her, if I ever wonder where she went. Not really. She made her choice. She tried to erase me. But my name was on the lease, and now, so is my peace.